March madness begins. March is the craziest, most intense and happening month in 2025. We're going to have two eclipses. We're going to have Venus and Mercury going retrograde. We're going to have Neptune moving into Aries. Bam, bam, bam. Each one of those events is big astrological events. Put all five together, and I called it March Madness. So this is very important to watch, to be prepared. The layers will be shifting, the directions of our lives with eclipses, fated events get activated in our lives. With retrograde planets, we turn direction, we start changing how we feel, think, and feel about something. With eclipses, we totally derail the train onto another direction, basically. So, wow. And it's all happening in Aries, around the Aries area. But actually, to know specifically how this is going to affect you, you can, even if you're not looking at this video, you can just go to my transit calendar, personal transit calendar at astrolada.com, enter your birth details. No one else in the world will have the same transits like you have. These videos that I do for each of the 12 signs, they're just for your ascendant sign or sun sign or moon sign. But this calculator calculates every position of the planet in your horoscope. Is it Saturn? Is it Mercury? Is it Venus? And it gives you the transits that you're going to have day by day. It's only free for 7 days, but each 7 days it gets updated. So you always see 7 days ahead, but you can open for a longer period. And if you want to see those eclipses, one in Virgo, one in Aries, will directly affect you, you can check. For example, this is my horoscope. The eclipse is directly affecting me. It's conjunct my Mercury. It will totally turn around anything connected with Mercury in my horoscope. And look how many extensive interpretations there are. Or what other transits will retrograde Venus directly? They affect you directly. You look at transits of Venus. Oh yes, retrograde Venus will be opposite my Jupiter. Retrograde Venus will be square trine my Uranus. You can see much more specifically than those videos how you will be affected. And of course, we end with Neptune in Aries. Crazy. The eclipse, I don't know what's going to happen with the world. Let me just be honest. There might be big revelation of markets with those retrogrades, Mercury and Venus next to Saturn, next to Neptune, eclipse on the same degree. Some big news with wars and peace, because it's all happening in Aries. The world either getting in arms or disarming. I don't know which way it goes exactly. Big eclipse, lunar eclipse in Virgo. Virgo is the sign of the working class people, is the sign of the medical and hospital industries and the diseases as well. So where is going to hit us from? I don't know. This eclipse in Virgo is exactly opposite Saturn and opposite Neptune. So you have to be more careful with health, because this is the axis of illnesses, diseases as well, water, matters connected to water. But then all the action is also in Aries. So we have water, fire. Let's start. I'm not going to go for the whole world, but individually, because you're important, how you're going to deal with these energies in your life. And believe me, this is once in a year, very rare opportunity or lifetime to really reset in a big way a certain area of your life where all this action is happening, whatever areas is. Let's begin. And by the way, I have 5-hour video for Neptune in Aries for each one individually, only for personal predictions. It's only $20. It covers all possible transits Neptune can have to personal planets over the next 13 years, sextiles, trines, oppositions on Neptune through each house, and they're all full of personal stories that I've watched people for the last 20 years, how they overcome Neptune transit, what happens in their life. I give you many stories from the highest to the lowest, remedies how to deal with that, and I also explain to you how to find all the transits. Very easy, you don't need to know any astrology. This is my love of work, my work of love, sorry. Neptune's affecting me already. For you, if you'd like to get it, I'm putting a link below the description. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, March 2025. Leo, the month starts with Venus turning retrograde in your ninth house. Actually, Mercury will turn retrograde there as well. There will be an eclipse in your ninth house as well, and Mercury will enter your ninth house all gradually throughout March. So, all eyes, all focus on this ninth house, not just in March, but for quite a while ahead as well. And the good news is that the ninth house, Aries, it's making a trine to Leo, the most harmonious aspect. So all those big events happening there will have a strengthening influence for you, a harmonious influence. Even if changes are coming into your life, if those planets are making some hard aspects there to personal planets, say you might have something in Libra or in Cancer or Capricorn, or in Aries itself. So these are the more difficult aspects. But despite of it, because generally the ninth house is the luckiest, most auspicious house for any sign. So for you, the sign Aries is very lucky and auspicious overall. It will make trine towards you. It will be for the best, for the strengthening of who you are, for because it's a self house. The first house, the fifth, and the ninth houses, it's a triad of self. So becoming more is a Dharma house. Dharma is what becoming more of who you're supposed to be, unfolding more of your inner potential. Ninth house, all this energy is about self-improvement and growing into a bigger version of yourself, into a higher version of yourself. The ninth house, the first house is the egoic self, personal interests and so on. And the ninth house, when we reach to it, is really the higher self. So you will be given an opportunity of gradual unfolding of the potentials of your higher self, of the fuller vision that God has for you. But let's start first with the retrograde planet. So I wanted to give you a bigger perspective. So even if there is some disruptions in March and in April with the eclipses, with the retrograde planets, that you know that you're in the process of becoming a bigger version of yourself, a more aligned to your Dharma. Dharma is your purpose in life. Dharma is what your soul really came here to do, that will feel most inspired and joyful and connected to source when it's doing in a way that it's being. All those self-help books, they are considered nine house energy to transcend to a bigger version of yourself. So all the planets are working in that direction for you. Remember, even if there are disruptions. So Venus first goes retrograde on the 1st, and then on the 14th of March, Mercury also goes retrograde in the ninth house. There can be reevaluation of your beliefs, what you considered has always been truth, or what you've always relied on. Oh, this is how the world is, this is my worldview. It can be shaken a bit, that suddenly you discover certain information or knowledge or realization that you are not aware of before, that makes you start doubting the role models you had, because ninth house rules those as well, the teachers you followed, the beliefs, the religions that you had, the worldview, all of that. And Mercury rules your second house. Maybe you believe till now money doesn't grow on trees, or something else connected to money, or money is limited, or money is I don't have to work hard. There'll be a correction of those beliefs connected to money and resources. With Mercury retrograde there, Mercury also rules your 11th house of friendships. They can be a correction of the people in the social circle you associate with, which might be dragging down your vibrations, and they're not aligned energetically to the higher version of yourself that you can be. And you can rethink, maybe I won't follow those people, because 11th house is who you follow, or who follows you on social media, or your clients or your friends, who you associate energetically with around you, what social groups, what political affiliations. They can be a rethinking, especially on ideological basis. Why am I affiliated with those people or with those groups? Maybe I shouldn't, or maybe you've overlooked the person in your life, and they can actually be good karma for you, and you'd get to recognize this person that you've overlooked now, because Mercury rules 11th house of other people, friendships. Venus also rules being retrograde, another social house for you. People in your everyday lives, relatives, siblings, co-workers, teammates, people again you connect through social media or you go to coffee with, or the moms you chat with on when you go and pick up your kid from school, all of those other social people that you connect with, they can be a reevaluation and need to think, do I want to connect with those? Because Mercury and Venus will only feel painful if there's such people in your life who are blocking you from becoming a bigger version of yourself, or who are not balanced and harmonious. So they take more than they give, or they don't put the most balanced and fair attitude towards you, or treatment in some way. And you can really see it from a higher perspective now and recognize who they are, clean up a bit that mess, or rethink certain relationships. But also it can mean that some people that you've overlooked in your environment, as I said, in your social connections, they can come back to connect with you, or you can connect with them and find very valuable qualities in them that helps you grow as a person as well. So they can be positive reconnections with people that can contribute to your growth, to your vision for the future as well, to a better version of yourself. But also, as I said, sometimes there can be this crisis element that, okay, this teacher I have followed, this belief system, or those people in my life, they are not who I thought they are, or there is something, maybe let me rethink my affiliation. But it's all very much based on ideological belief systems. And yeah, be careful about stressful situations, about your political views, your spiritual views. You might have to retract back if you've been pouring down other people's throat what you believe is right and truthful and wrong, because the ninth house is morality, ethics. And we can be, when the ninth house is strongly activated, a bit of on our high moral horse. And the retrograde planet says, if you are someone who's been doing that, pull back. Don't, maybe you don't have to proselytize and turn everyone into your beliefs and into, or maybe if there are other people in your life who are doing this to you, you can pull back from them in some way, or rethink them, or rethink your strategy about spreading your knowledge, spreading your wisdom, how to do it in a way that is more harmonious, that doesn't alienate people from you. That's another way this retrograde introspective period can go through. But there is also a more mundane way it can play out. Rethinking nine houses, what our education, maybe rethinking you want to pre-qualify and you start in March and in April thinking that maybe I should take a course to pre-qualify, or maybe I should change my major. Maybe I should go back to university and finish a degree I haven't finished, or some other degree. Or maybe you're doing a major and you're like, oh, I want to change it here. Or maybe retake an exam. That's another way. But definitely there's some big emphasis on maybe something you missed in your education and in your personal upgrade through knowledge, that the universe now reminds you or shows you what it is you missed and helps you fill in the gaps with some crash course, with some maybe going back to some knowledge and studies that you've done before. Maybe you used to do manifestations and visualizations and such other self-growth and expansion of the horizon practices, but you've forgotten about it, and you can come back to them. Affirmations, ninth house rules, all of such things, affirmations, visualizations, anything that will expand, let's say, the possibility of what is possible for you. Or come back to some studies, as I said, or some teaching project, or some educational, or some knowledge project to complete, that will help humanity or help others in some way, to work on it during the retrograde periods, March, April, so you can bring it up to the world when they start moving direct after that, into May, into the month of May 2025. Or you can go back, revisit the foreign country you haven't been for a while. Some foreign trip, because it's about retrograde, come back to a foreign place, to a foreign trip, or some trip you've been planning for a while. that you haven't been able to come back as an opportunity, but not necessarily going to brand new places, because again, retrograde planets, especially Mercury, and going on a trip, it can be a bit more complicated. And if you go do plan trips in April, in March and April, you just have to be aware that there might be some surprises, and they might be very positive surprises, but not according to how you've planned it. It's just that element of surprise there. And of course, they oppose your third house, so your plans, graphic, everyday activities can be a bit messed up as well. Like you have your schedule and what you do and what you don't do. It might come up a bit in the year, maybe because you're traveling somewhere, maybe because, I don't know, something else is happening. It doesn't have to be bad, but maybe you can't do exactly everything you have planned because something, ninth house, which is the house of luck and opportunities and divine inspiration, can come to take your attention away or to require your attention. It doesn't necessarily mean something bad will happen, Ninth house is also the house of, okay, we said foreign travel, studies, self-improvement, very big focus there, legal matters, of relocation to foreign places, papers, documents, visas. You might be working on correcting or doing the details of some such project, whether it's educational, whether it's visa, whether it's travel things that might get delayed, or you might have to fix something, give certain, for legal matters, certain documents that are missing, arranging some legal matters in some ways. But these are two positive planets, so it can help you put in order such matters with the law, with the legal matters and so on. But of course, as everything, as the ninth house is morality, ethics, some kind of a moral question can arise. Is this ethical? Is this good to do in certain area of your life for you to revise? Is this what my higher self wants, or what is aligned to the cosmic principles, and so on? But definitely a stronger connection to the forces of God, to the higher powers in some way, because those planets are very strong. Even retrograde, they're much closer to Earth. It can unlock some good fortune from before as well. Ninth house is fortune, luck. It can be unlocked as well, or some information that comes to you. And then there is another eclipse, that is first eclipse, on the 14th, the same day that Mercury turns retrograde. There will be an eclipse in your second house, lunar eclipse. This is your values, your finances, and Mercury rules it, the second house, and goes retrograde. Maybe because your beliefs are changing, how you see reality, or your plans for the future, which is the ninth house. It can also make you make some changes with finances, or maybe your financial situation, something is happening here, makes you rethink your goals. Your ninth house is connected to your future plans, your education, for example, because of financial considerations that can make you want to study something or brush up on some knowledge, or some legal matters connected to finances as well. This can be this connection of the second and the ninth house, or maybe some project to make money that is educational in nature, through educational or teaching projects or traveling projects, or projects that spread goodwill to humanity, which is the ninth house, a very charitable house of wanting to help on a larger scale. Or something connected to money in education, money and law, money in your knowledge and wisdom, or teaching of some sort as well, that can play together in this March. But sometimes there can be some crisis with finances, full moon there with the south node, some ending of some, for example, dependable source of finances, or letting go you willingly of some material or financial comfort, because of a higher goal and purpose, this ninth house, because of some bigger, more elevated version of yourself that you want to be. So you might have to let go of certain material comforts, or something that gave you security in some way, or maybe you might be completing some education, putting final touches, project that impacts your finances in some way as well. So anything like that. But it's, unless you have planets in Virgo, this eclipse does not directly affect you. It's at around 23 degrees of Virgo. And if you have anything around there, 20 to 25 Virgo, you might not feel you might not feel it. More like the middle of the month can be, you might receive some financial even benefit if you've been working on financial security of some sort, because it's a full moon eclipse, to see results, to get results in a material, in tangible ways. But this eclipse is with the south node, so there is the possibility of something also giving up something, releasing something as well, or some material obligation, releasing it in some way. And of course, the second house is food, how we eat, the teeth. Be careful about crisis there, with, but it will be easy if you want to let go of certain food groups. So you might want to reduce meat or dairy or sugar or whatever. And it will be much easier with an eclipse in your second house, full moon eclipse, to release, to let go of some eating habits that are not so good for you. Much easier, like the planets help in that direction, especially if it aligns to a higher spiritual version of yourself or plan and vision for yourself. So I'm going to stop eating so I can be the fuller version of more aligned to my divine self, or I'm not going to eat meat because of some ideological beliefs or whatever. But somehow also your beliefs will strongly connected to your finances. The more you believe it's possible, the more you work on reprogramming your mind, the more your financial situation can by miracle be changed in some way. Then there is another eclipse. This eclipse is again in your ninth house on the 29th of March. The moon travels here, lines up with the sun, again at 9 degrees, again trining you, auspicious, but it's in the ninth house, full new moon eclipse, powerful new beginning. So first you might rethink, as I said, your beliefs and the direction and the plans that you have for the future, and maybe some education or whatever, or situation with fathers or authority figures can be escalated, because the ninth house is such matters as well, not authority, but father figure types. And then there is a powerful new beginning over the next 6 months, because that is an eclipse that lasts for 6 months. I mean, its influence. So if you can clean up house here with the retrograde planets, from the end of the month, you're given new lease of life, for hope, for horizon, maybe like a very powerful developments, resolutions with anything connected to foreign countries, to legal matters after that, to faraway places, for trips or travels, for educational purposes as well, teaching, or you learning or you teaching in some way that can, or a new mission almost. And at ninth house together with the 10th house, they're very much connected to the mission of person in life and the vision they have for the future, as for those things to clarify and the new direction to be shown for you. And last but not least, Neptune is moving into your ninth house, where it's going to, for the next 13 years, be trining you. Maybe not all 13 years, but if you're early Leos, you would feel it. If you're born like 23rd or 24th of July, 25th, you might feel Neptune already from this year with a trine, which is magical. Neptune is divine love in action in Aries, trine you in magical ways. You can fulfill things that you've dreamt for a long time, of things that you haven't even dreamt of. And Neptune's ultimate goal is to transcend. What are you going to transcend when it's in the ninth house for 13 years? You're going to transcend your old smaller self, your old limiting vision of what's possible. You're going to start believing, is the house of believing, in much bigger, better version of yourself. And not only are you going to believe it, but you're going to make it. A vision that is more aligned to the higher self vision that God has for you. You're going to transcend your old beliefs again. You see, everything is going there. Your old limiting beliefs. You're going to transcend your own horizons. Maybe till now you were looking through such a window, and all those influences in the ninth house can help you transcend it. It's going to open for you to transcend your small world mentality, to become more citizen of the world for the next 13, 14 years. And Neptune can even give you a mission, divine mission, connected to teaching, connecting to uplifting humanity. Ninth house is very charitable, is very knowledgeable, spreading knowledge, spreading, uplifting others through divine grace in some way, through knowledge or through whatever actions. But I speak a lot more about Neptune through the ninth house, and Neptune making transits. You might have Sun in Leo, Neptune will trine you, but you might have Moon in Libra, Neptune will oppose your Moon in Libra, and you might have Mars in Capricorn, Neptune will square it, and you might have Saturn in Gemini, Neptune will sextile it. So how will all those transits affect you with personal stories? Very specific examples. I give in my Neptune webinar of 5 hours, just $20. I really try to price myself the cheapest astrologer out there because I have big numbers and I can afford to do this. So I've poured my heart and soul with hundreds of stories, of personal stories and people and that I've observed of Neptune transits through different houses, different aspects. So take it. It will be a guiding book for you, how to transcend, how to not to get lost, because with Neptune we can get lost and we can lose our vision into low vibrational options somehow. And I teach you how to go through that and not to get mixed up with the low vibrations of Neptune and how to recognize them as well. So Leo, ninth house, the luckiest house, is activated for you. Yes, not by the easiest influences, eclipses, retrograde planets, but somehow it's all working out for the highest good, for the best for you. It's giving you a higher perspective of how things have been in your life till now, and to really realize why things are aligning like that. You're really the philosopher this month and in April, and you see things from a bigger perspective. And you're like a guiding force maybe for others as well. And a lot of illuminations, a lot of answers to problems you weren't able to resolve before, because ninth house is this elevated stance from where we can receive answers from a different state of consciousness, will be activated for you. And deep realizations, either through a book, through someone else that tells you something, or just intuitively being born within you. This kind of miracles can happen almost like divine interventions. So may you use it to the highest good of everyone.